Meet the hardest, strongest material known to man.
Aluminum won't absorb that, steel won't absorb that.
But it's also one of the softest. It's clean, dirty, brilliant, and black.
1 teaspoon has the surface area of an acre.
It purifies air and water. It powers the world while altering its climate. It's the stuff of stars.
It's an enchanted element.
It's you and me. Now, the untold story of carbon on Modern Marvels. This specimen of high-tech muscle is known as a champ car. The number 29 car competes around the world in races that draw as many as 300,000 fans. Believe it or not, a champ car's radical performance is helped by carbon.
They are open wheel, single seat, open cockpit race cars, similar to Formula One. They're capable in the current aerodynamic configuration and horsepower of about 225 miles an hour. They make about 3,400 pounds of downforce. What that means is the car could drive upside down and hold itself to the ceiling because it makes so much downforce. A champ car will go from 0 to 100 in 2.6 seconds and then back to 0 in the same amount of time. So basically you can go from 0 to 100 to 0 in about 4 seconds.
To hit speeds up to 225 miles per hour and take sharp road race turns at up to 165 miles per hour, it helps to have a 750 horsepower engine, high-performance tires, an obsessive crew, and a really good driver. But it's the car's body that we're interested in. It's made of a super strong, super light material that has revolutionized the world of motorsports. Carbon fiber. Carbon fiber is one of the latest incarnations of that simple element, carbon, that gives structure to all living things and helps other things go faster. The main body section, called the tub or monocoque, the front and rear wings, the body panels, the driver's safety harness, even certain engine components, are made of the rather nondescript, even flimsy-looking stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see in, but I mean, pretty much the entire thing's carbon. In fact, there's really not much I can see from in here that isn't carbon.
Why are all Formula One, IndyCar, and Champ Car racers built with carbon fiber?
It's 10 times stronger than steel and 3 times lighter in most instances. This is the engine cover from the current Champ car. And as you can see, it's very light, and it's all because of carbon.
When the margin of victory can be a fraction of a second, every pound counts. And the only thing more important than speed is safety.
From where I'm sitting, for sure, the reason for a carbon fiber would be its strength. The all one-piece carbon fiber tub is really very safe, and people walk away from some pretty nasty accidents.
Driver Catherine Legg learned the value of carbon fiber firsthand. During the 2006 Champ Car World Series, Legg's car smashed into the wall at 180 miles per hour. Though the car splintered into dozens of pieces, Legg was unhurt. Her life was very likely saved by carbon fiber.
Some of these crashes at 200 miles an hour plus, there's no way a human would survive if the car wasn't absorbing a lot of the energy. Aluminum won't absorb that, steel won't absorb that.
Unlike metal, which crumples around the driver at the moment of failure, carbon fiber breaks away.
It's very good for absorbing energy and not transferring it to the driver. These cars are designed to break away, and when parts break off these cars, they take energy with them. So instead of that energy transferring into the driver and hurting the driver, the energy goes away with the part as it leaves.
Carbon fiber manufacture is as difficult as it is secretive. But the Zoltech Corporation is opening the doors of its Abilene, Texas factory for a rare look inside its operation. One of the strongest engineering materials in the world begins as a synthetic petroleum-derived fabric, not unlike nylon or polyester.
We're
standing here at the initial stage of the oxidation process, which typically stabilizes the man-made material, or the polyacrylonitrile. We call it PAN for short. The PAN material, as it's drawn into the first oxidation oven, begins to cook. And as it cooks, as it's drawn through this oven, the material starts to change color.
What you're basically doing is driving off a lot of the other components, and the more carbon you're left with, then the more black the material appears to be.
The slow burn causes oxygen from the air to bond with the carbon atoms, which go from a linear chain to a stronger ladder-like formation. After the stabilization process, the fibers emerge as a very strong 68% carbon material known as pyron.
At this stage, this material can be used to create a brake for an airliner.
Although pyron is tough enough to stop an airplane, turning it into 100% carbon fiber calls for a lot more heat.
This is one of our high-temperature furnaces where we complete the carbonisation of the fibre. We have a total of 5 altogether, and in this furnace we drive out the remains of the hydrogen and nitrogen to bring us up to a full carbon fibre. This is really the most critical part of the process, because the temperature that we use defines exactly the modulus, or the stiffness of the fibre, and also the tensile strength. So it's very, very important that we keep really accurate control of the furnaces at this stage of the process.
This time, the fibers are heated in the complete absence of oxygen, so that they won't burn. Instead, the extreme heat forces the atoms to vibrate until the non-carbon atoms break away. Left behind are crystalline chains of carbon atoms. The carbonization process has now fused the carbon atoms into a very strong shape that will require great energy to break. The carbon fibers go through an electrochemical bath, which roughens the fiber's surface and makes it more bondable for use in composites. Then, in a last step resembling a textile factory, the carbon fiber is wound onto bobbins. The fibers, each one about 1/10 the width of a human hair, can be cut like any thread. But when bundled into a cord 50,000 fibers strong, they begin to flex their muscles. But how does carbon fiber go from this to this? First, the carbon fibers are woven into a fabric to provide multi-directional strength.
That fabric is then draped over a mould of the vehicle itself, and they will apply resin to it and heat the whole thing up in an autoclave and cook it.
The autoclave cooks the carbon fabric into a hard shell, with its shape determined by the mold.
When you think about how it starts, to oversimplify it, it's a piece of rayon like what's in your shirt. And when you put it in an oven and you bake it and you do it right, you get something that can survive a 200-mile-an-hour accident, and the guy gets up and walks away.
Of course, carbon fiber isn't just for auto racing. It's making its way into high-performance consumer cars and the strong light blades on some of the world's largest wind turbines. But the most dramatic use for carbon fiber is on Boeing's new passenger jet, the 787 Dreamliner, which debuts in 2008. The fuselage and wing structures are made almost entirely of a carbon fiber reinforced composite.
The important thing about the carbon fibre is its strength, and its lightweight, and its corrosion resistance. Those are the 3 key drivers. So the actual Dreamliner will be much lighter in weight than if it was made out of metal, and that's increasing the fuel efficiency.
That will mean more affordable ticket prices, even as the cost of fuel goes ever upward.
Back in the early 70s, Boeing estimated that every kilo you took off the weight of an aircraft would save something like $100,000 in fuel costs over the lifetime of the aircraft. In those days, oil was $12 a barrel. Today, saving is potentially very much greater.
While other airplanes must keep a cabin pressure equal to 8,000 feet above sea level, the Dreamliner, with its stronger airframe, will be able to maintain a much more comfortable 6,000 feet equivalent. And since carbon fiber will never corrode, airlines will be able to provide a more humid mix of air in the cabin. No more dry eyes and throats at the end of a long flight.
It's taken 50 years for it to finally reach a new aircraft. But the Dreamliner will be the most fuel-efficient aircraft flying, and that's what carbon fibres was all about.
Of course, carbon fiber is just a fraction of what carbon provides us. Try to imagine a world without carbon, or even a Champ car without carbon. You can forget about the fancy hydrocarbon-derived paint job. You won't be able to stop without the carbon brake pads. But that's okay, because you can also remove the methanol fuel, the rubber tires, the car body itself, and last but not least, the carbon-based life form at the wheel. Just about everything that counts on this car and in this world is made at least partially of carbon.